platforms for a itch or scratch, rich that for a Kit Kat or a Big Mac. Temporary contentment that don't kiss back, shit's whack. We here to get our shit back. Restoration of what was overthrown. American engines, old organic gold, not provolone. Home alone, all foreigners gone. Surefire, shoot, Hebrew, Muslim, Mason, Moorish, cornerstone. Fraternal orders up, forest room. You know substantial foundation, flawless zone. Bottomless pit up, broken promises, home through landlines or cordless phones. Lines like ley lines, aligned with constellations. Rocks cry out till the land, till the sword is gone and corn is grown. The war is on. Power is strong. Show. With all farms off the land. It includes all you corporations, all you different nationalities. Anything that isn't American engine, you need to get the fuck off. We ain't playing this time. We understand exactly what y'all motherfuckers do. Akichiwa. Indigenous resistance. Warrior spirit. Turtle Island. This is for my peoples. Jah. Too much debate, too much hating, too much faking, too much grand staging, too much handshaking, too much land taking, too much manipulating. Too much you can, but you shaking. Too much of a friend, yet you stuck through Nathan. Complain too much instigating, too much insinuating. You too much of an Asian. Celebrities too, heavenly bodies got you stargazing. Dilated peoples, stark amazement. Top chart chasing, your heart racing. Spellbound, too much dark sayings. Am I? Sharing too much in my paint can graffiti art. Spraying too much to spark in the dark basement day. Breaking too much, these mobs operate through too much ego, way too much for me, yo. Now with all the fake check-ins. Either you from the soil or you're not. And this ain't even a half. They displace you engine, replace you engine, erase you through paper. Genocide engine, land session agreements, a fake space. View engine change, dates to purposely misplace you engine. Egg shouting, tax you on your own. Land engine, you a child, not a grown woman, a grown man engine. In fact, you black, you that person in all caps on them contracts. Legal fiction, non-living show. Damn engine, how long will you let them debase you, deface you? An engine, no one is coming to save you. A brave new world awaits you, engine. They intend to continue to rape and enslave you, bound to a remix of religion. A graven image that reach at the same station. They played you, engine, and say unseen hand. You just wait, can't slay you, engine. But it's the return of the ancient ones. We back. Hold fast, let me get that. Out with that, gift wrap, not with rhetoric. Chit chat, shit back, go back and forth. On platforms for a itch or scratch, rich that for a Kit Kat or a Big Mac. Temporary contentment that don't kiss back, shit's whack. We here to get our shit back. Restoration of what was overthrown. American engines, old organic gold, not provolone. Home alone, all foreigners gone. Surefire, shoot, Hebrew, Muslim, Mason, Moorish, cornerstone. Fraternal orders up, forest room. You know substantial foundation, flawless zone. Bottomless pit up, broken promises. Home through landlines or cordless phones. Lines like ley lines, aligned with constellations. Rocks cry out till the land, till the sword is gone and corn is grown. The war is on. Power is strong. Show. races, all you different nationalities. Anything that isn't American engine, need to get the fuck off. We ain't playing this time. We understand exactly what y'all motherfuckers do. Akichiwa.
And my music, and a lot of this music, it's only talking about the suppressed rising. I mean, the oppressed rising up against the oppressor. That's all. That's what my music's about. The oppressed rising up against the oppressor. So only people that's scared are the oppressors. The only people who can have any harm coming to them are those who oppress. Simple as that.
3 pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, make no surrender. 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor.
We're going to read it. All right. Nah, we're going to have a conversation. We're going to read it. There you go. I want to get back in that book. Good way.
No weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, make no surrender. It's time for a change, get a bounce up. The oppressor's about to get bounced up. I'm letting you out, execution's down. Too late with apologetic claim.
Ganja, what's up, beloved? What's cracking? I'm just gonna read today, bro. Every time I go to the pizzeria, like say if I just want to get something to snack on, I don't eat that chicken wings, even though it's my boy with Turkey owns it. And he was like, "You want to work here?" I was like, "No, man." And even though I know he paid me good, but no, off the books. But the last time I wanted to get a little small pizza and something to snack on while I watched this movie, and turned around and gave me 2 full deep dish pan pizzas with the works, and I was like, I didn't ask for this. It's like, bro, gotcha. I mean, I watched them make it and everything. I was like, when y'all gonna put my little ass pizza in there? I just want to, and then snack that up and then take my clothes and stuff. But and that was the 3rd time. So I give it to, and they just had Domino's come. Someone, you want one? Because the window's up, it's open, they can hear me. And we got some people over here visiting, I think they're going into the Airbnb. And some kids, they always come down here, they had to pull the vinyl from under my window because it had holes or something in it. You know where we ground at? So there have been kids, like they come up to look at the Tesla, the little box, Hellraiser box, and the Book of the Dead, and the mask that is significant to things that people have not seen for a long time, and then the solar panel, and they want to just so they always come look, but they be damaging the bottom part. So you've seen that terrace down there. It's from them with their little scooty butts when they lay it down, because I told them they can lay it right here. Nobody's gonna take it, even if they see it from the street. So they always drop it, and so it messed it up. So they got that off. You can see the original shingles of this place. And so whenever I see the kids, I tell them, don't stand there and don't come putting that over here. Unless if I'm here, they do it when I'm not here. Because it's safe, so people won't come over. Nobody's going to steal them. People go sleep with the doors open, car windows down, stuff like that. But I had to let them know, don't put it there right now. Because the thing is not on it. It's in the back over there. When you first come in, you look to the left, all those. So that's where they got everything. They're cutting everything to measure and fit. We're just going to get into reading. I just want to play a little music. There's no need to curse. Everybody knows I do videos. Don't have to do that. I've just been enjoying the trolls, or whatever you want to call them. I don't call them that. The bot, the computer. But I was looking at the people, because you can always tell who runs the platform by saying keywords. I'm always going to say fake Jews, so they're fake. I ain't going to go nowhere. It's not going to stop somebody who becomes a Jew from being a fake. And then when you get in there, you learn what it's really about. And most of the people stay quiet. But now if you get into the Abrahamic belief of it, that's something different. You know what I'm saying? And I think those are the individuals, like I said, if you're really about your religion, and I'm not to dismiss or dispel it, I just know of this land and I know what religion amounts to. Because when you want to talk about the Bible and their God, our original God wasn't a God at all. He was melanated. And you know, you got a bunch of people out in South Central America trying to adopt or change the narrative, whitewash who he was, and they can't do that. There's a plethora of images, writings, and things that go way back that have nothing to do with the Jews. Even that one book that y'all remember I was reading, talking about America, written by fake Jews who were dynamic in changing the history of this land, well, attempting to. Even they were attempting to whitewash without whitewashing it because they couldn't tell the story, even though there's like 5 documentaries showing from Brazil to Belize to Venezuela, showing the original indigenous people who are still actually there. They're just downplayed and not in the TV, which is the programming consortium. And those who spoke of the relations and telling the truth about the conquest and all this other stuff that pretty much really happened around 1800. And why so-called North America didn't fall as fast until recently. Like the Wagner Group. Back then, this was a practice by the Vatican and certain new royalties where they would use POWs or enslaved. Prisoners are enslaved, y'all. Even if you did wrong, it's prison. That prison is enslavement. Because there's no system. The system is what created it. And there's no system that changes it. And when they had them, they removed them. I mean, look at the Mississippi, look at the Bayou, and look at all Tennessee and the places like that with the racists in Alabama. Most of those melanated children, unlike LA and New York and places like that in Jersey, they got rid of all their community centers. There's not even a place where you can go and play video games, as it was in the 80s and 90s. And it is due to the music and the limelight of black conscious Hollywood, and we're not talking about the woke, how it created this phenomenon and the drug incorporation by the federal government. That's why I'm not surprised that y'all not surprised why the CIA and the FBI is still standing. Well, because nobody's paying attention. They're looking at the surface and they're not looking at the little details. First of all, they shouldn't exist. Why? Because they were just like our government. In order for them to establish these things, consortiums, they would have to hijack the government. And they did that from us. And how did they do it? Well, when you're fighting all the time, and you really didn't lose until around the 50s and 60s. You gotta remember when they were first lynching the Paleskins here before our people were already at war with them. And they were, like I told you, my family would leave them in the front yard as a message, don't come by here. And don't come and collect, you know what I'm saying? The bones, I don't even know if they were ever collected and buried. You see what I'm saying? I'm not using it as an antagonist, it's just the reality. Some people have it in their DNA to be very, very copious and being violent, okay? Trust me on that, all right? Okay, they're good. They're putting them right by the tree, which is good. I showed them to put them over there too. So they're running and playing. That's the park. There's a lot of kids out playing. They got schools out, whatever, you know. But a lot of people have a hard time. I'm not saying this is everybody's so-called life. I'm not saying this happens to everybody. But if you look at everything, the beautiful thing is that you still have, we know entertainers, right? You still have the football leagues, baseball leagues, and stuff like that in a lot of places. And that's why it bugged me out about Millville and Vineland. But you can see what was going on in Camden. Even though they still had the basketball leagues, they still had the baseball, softball. But mostly it was a lot of the light-skinned babies and certain melanated people within good standards. But you still had certain melanated, whether it be Puerto Rican, Dominican, so-called black, you know, in certain communities who were doing drugs, and those small numbers were at war. But then you get the retaliatory thing. And so you get people not going to these places or churches even in certain corners because of shootouts and stuff. So you get this thing that you know, you get lost in the sauce. But the problem is the grown men, they're so busy working that they don't take the time to come together unless it's barbecue, party, drink, ha ha ha. which is not a healthy thing. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of you actually might know this, and you've seen that yourself. DeAndre, what's that brother asked me something? Got like a lot of good information about attorneys, the constitutional ones. It's hard to say in this time and age because so many people are showing their hands. I'm going to look into what I can and see what I can find. Because you're supposed to be able to find somebody, or when you find a good attorney who's a constitutionalist, they should have really good, been doing this for like over 2 decades to 3 decades, and they have an established ground. They should be able to be located in most states. That's how they have their firms. When I went to law school, it's just the way it's set up. So I'm going to see what I can look into. I'm thinking about using the old ex-Army PTSD lawyer I got, because they were trying to deny my left knee and my wrist, which my whole body was jacked up by the military. And even with me working out, because they told us to be strong, so we had to work out. That's part of it, curriculum. And besides the fact, keeping thousands of pounds of Coca-Cola, something. We sold sodas, y'all. And there was sodas always there. I had to force myself to stop drinking them. They were nothing but just cancerous, carcinogenic, and poison, for those who know. And I was so grateful when they got them out the shop, because we used to lay up on the big things of soda, like in our shop. And our shop with all these big cats, because you're working with bombs and this, that, and many hours, 12 to 16 hour days, 7 days a week, sometimes at 2 months, still beach picnic, physical fitness readiness program, all the drills, because you got to remember, I slept on the catapult too. So literally, it was like where I slept at, it was this thing right here. All right. And when an aircraft at night ops, you hear boom. And because we had to be prepared to deal with the aircraft. At the time, it was A7 Corsairs and the F-18s. That's why I was like, I got to go on the special force. I got to get on the ground. But because of what I was and what I became, we started going in ground, infill, because of some of the things we had to do to support certain things. Like I said, we work like tethered ducks. We work with teams, SEAL teams. And I told you, a couple of my buddies went off teams and came back, after a year and a half, 2 years. They were like, well, however long, right? 2 years, I think. And they were like, great. They was all strapped up. Now, I was powerless. So I was like, big old hug. I'm picking them up. Bro, you made it. Yo, you got stride. It's like, yo, bro, you got to go. I was like, I'm training. I'm getting the package together. And, the good old boy network was like, we can't have you following MM1 Smith. And we can't have you following, 80, blah, blah, blah. We're supposed to make so-and-so. And we want to get you out of here because we're still part of the We Hate the Coon Nigga Network. And I'm like, and they knew I was Indian and German. And so, I was out. And it was a messed up way they got me out. But, they got me out. But I kept that training up, and I still work with a lot of them. So I learned everything from them, CQ, whatever. I learned how to move like them because they like to be able to wrestle with me. And we're talking about people, guys my age, about 60 now, okay? And 65, who went through, did their tour, did their time, okay? Before MARSOC and all that nonsense. And a couple of my boys who were Vietnam were in when I was in, who were ODA, who respected me, who drank, who liked my comedy, and those are the ones I'm still connected to. And they don't like a lot of these new age cats, even though I know some who are pretty cool. But that's just the reality, you know what I'm saying? They go through the network, they have the numbers, they know how to do and put in stuff and find out everything about you, at least the top echelon. I don't know how it works today. And that's just the way it is. You dig what I'm saying? And I really, really would have enjoyed going through that torturous thing, and even bettering my swimming would have been, side stroke is like, that's the formidable, that's the one you're gonna really have to get good at. But what am I doing rambling on, man? I'm telling you, giving you all some more stories here. Let me go ahead and get this read on. That's what we need to do here. Let me turn this off. Okay. Let's get into 100 Years of Lynching. This is by Ralph Ginsberg. I'm going to be reading on TikTok too, y'all. Just reading. I actually have like those videos I have here. I'm uploading them over there. And I don't see why I should, because I actually enjoy going live and reading here. All right. So this one's going to be the New York. Oh, here's the book, in case you want to purchase it. I have another book talking about the first people lynched, were light-skinned folks. Y'all call white, YT, or whatever the craziness. Y'all always creating something out of nothing. But our pale-skinned, light-skinned brothers They were the first ones lynched. I gave you all stats. I told you the years and the time, but I know it's hard to follow along when most of the history is a lie. All right, so hold on to whatever you want to hold on to. Okay, so let's get into it. New York Sun, June 14, 1932. Sheriff and Negro killed, 6 deputies wounded by mob. Winnsboro, South Carolina, June 14. 6 deputies were wounded and Sheriff Hood was killed today when they fought a desperate battle in front of the courthouse to keep a mob from lynching a Negro prisoner. Despite the posse's fight, the Negro was wrested, which would allude to wrestle, from them, and the infuriated crowd shot him to death. I know a little bit more about that story. In 1932, innocent man, sharecropper, owned a couple of flour, sugar stores, something like that. And they won. And it was put to task, and he was murdered. And it happened to numerous individuals. And the other one I wanted to read to you was about New Jersey. All right, and this is Hackensack, New Jersey, Evening Record. February 20th, 1933. Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks, Delusions. Yeah. Yeah, just go ahead and just get rid of them. We're not gonna play. We're just gonna do like we did over at Cure Meals. Just get rid of them. Okay, just get rid of them. It doesn't matter if they subscribe, or it might just be bots, because that's what my boy T was telling me. He says it's mostly bots, so we're not going to entertain a machine. Kiramio, what's going on, beloved? Seem like a wise man. You're in the wrong place, bro. All right, so anyway, let me go ahead and get it in here. Brooklyn, what's going on? Brooklyn in the house. What's happening? Hector Tafola, what's going on, beloved? Appreciate it, Cure. So this is right here. It's Hackensack, New Jersey Evening Record. February 20th, 1933. Lynched Negro for killing man who defended wife. Lynched Negro. Lynched a Negro for killing man who defended the wife. Pay attention. Ringhold. Excuse me. Ringhold. That's the New Jersey as far as the Hackensack. It's a newspaper. Because I know some of you are going to be like, wait a minute. Let me inform you. That's just how it was back then. Ringgold, Louisiana, February 20th. A Negro who kidnapped a banker and his wife in an attempted robbery and killed the man for defending the woman against attack was lynched by citizens at the scene of the slaying yesterday. The officer said the Negro, identified as Nelson Nash, you can pull his name up, 24, if you want to go back to 1933, okay, of Leesville, Louisiana, early yesterday morning, entered the home of J.P. Batchelor, 50, of the Ringgold Bank, and forced Batchelor and his wife to take him to the bank and open the doors. Now, when Batchelor told the Negro he could not open the vault, the bandit forced the couple, still in their night clothes, to accompany him down the railroad tracks about a mile north of the town, where he allegedly attempted to attack the woman. Now, Batchelor grappled with the Negro and his wife ran to a nearby cabin to summon aid. The husband was severely beaten about the head and died of his injuries. As news of the crime spread, several hundred citizens organized posses and captured Nash 15 miles away and brought him back to Ringgold, where officers said he confessed the slaying. The crowd spirited the Negro away to the scene of the slaying, hanged him from a tree, and riddled his bodies with bullets. Now, what they don't tell you about this individual, that's why I said look it up. You got to see what was taken from these people. And most of these people you see things happening to, these are people who had peace treaties with this fake Zionist-backed, fraudulent Jewish government that's running everything that most of y'all enjoy. All right, and that's what he was going to get his gold, and his weight. And he knew these were dirty because you need to know up to 1933 what they had done to many people, and many people not recorded here that even my family kept a record of them talked about. And he was just he wanted his gold back, and that was it, and go about your business. Because nobody was upholding treaties, and most of the people coming over here, first time generation, born in Sharon, were coming, like I said, 1909 was the majority of y'all Peliskins came, up all the way up into 1940 something. And it's books and history, everything were to prove it. And in that, like many others, and some got their gold back because they burnt these banks down. You never hear these stories because that would cast a shadow over the fake white supremacy and everything else. Okay, So go and read up on these individuals. I'm going to give names whenever they're available. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the history, because I was the first born up in Jersey or New York, right? St. Vincent's Hospital. It doesn't matter which one, all right? From down south. As they all believe in the earth's round and there's a down south, okay? Told you everything is backwards, reversed, upside down, and inverted. And it is. And I know a lot about the Carolinas, which is North and South Kakalaki, which is Kakalaki, and that's the reason why they call Carolina, California. They had to flip everything around. And you don't have to believe me. I'm not here to force you to believe anything, but sometimes you got to read things and see beyond, and it takes some of us to show these things that most people won't see, or most people in company won't even mention or speak about. Okay? Let's go ahead and get to the Negro Project by this is forwarded by Bruce Flaherty. Forwarded by Ron Edwards by Bruce Flannery, talking about Margaret Sanger's duplicitous, diabolical, the 5 Ds, all right, of plan for Black America, all right. All right, so let me go ahead and show it. I know we have new subscribers. Welcome to the tribe. Let's go ahead and pick up from where we left off at. Excuse me, my back is a little tight, guys. I'm doing those planks. Now, as Alex Wellerstein writes in his book, States of Eugenics, Wellerstein, whenever an opinion is the crucial phase that defined the character of eugenics in California. That's where it first took off. Remember that. Operations were performed at the discretion of the superintendents. Now, superintendents were of the prison system, even of the places they were now calling the crazy houses, even the boarding houses. They always had a superintendent. Later on in the 60s, the Panther movement would consider and create nurses in the schooling and those boarding homes and everything else, to which didn't exist then. Superintendents, male or female, okay? Also worth noting is that nowhere in the California law is the word sterilization. Why would it be mentioned? They were killing a lot of the autochthonous people there. You got to remember, the person that founded LA didn't find it. It wasn't LA. It was a brother who was once the president of Mexico. Anyway, the sterilization mentioned. Rather, the procedure is called sexualization. Now, the use of such a euphemism, let's just pull it up. I'm going to pull it up, okay? If you don't mind. So we can see if the term, if it changed from its original meaning or not, okay? Okay, let's pop this in. Why did it do that? Okay, here we go. Okay, so let's pull up the meaning. We'll go to the definition later. So, sexualization is the act of viewing someone or something in a sexual way, or making them sexual. It can also mean to emphasize the sexual nature of a person or behavior. For example, you might describe the sexualization of girls in beauty pageants. Sexualization is often associated with sexual objectification, which is treating someone as a sexual desire object, buck breaking, right? It can also, which is rape, but regardless of that, it can also create a socio-cultural standard of beauty, such as a woman being white, thin, and having long hair, full lips, and large breasts. Excuse me, that's dumb. Some say that sexualization can have negative consequences, such as mental health. I learned that in sociology, had to. Sexualization can lead to emotional and self-image problems, such as shame and anxiety. Research also links sexualization to eating disorders, low self-esteem, and depression in girls and women. Now, sexual development is sexualization as well, can negatively impact a girl's ability to develop a healthy sexual self-image. They're using that in the schools right now, in elementary, middle, and all that. You know what I'm saying? And that's a tactic that they have been very good at. And with certain chemicals in the food, that is what they're doing. But sexualization doesn't actually mean what you think it does. But when it comes to this, with Margaret Sanger, as Hitler stated, those who they felt were undesirable, or people who were, you know what I mean? So that way they can make a way to go ahead and murder people, all right? Because that's all it is, it's murder. So, mentioned, rather, the procedure is called asexualization. You can look that up. The use of, you know what it should be when it's an A in front of it, okay? The use of such a euphemism a euphemism, it could be argued would be rather like an abortion supporter using the phrase pro-choice. Hello, my liberals. I told y'all they got y'all running around acting very crazy. To mask their real sentiments. It was this law and others like it around the country which would inspire Margaret Sanger's cohort Harry Laughlin in crafting his proposed model eugenical sterilization law in 1922. Look it up and read it. Interestingly, Laughlin also helped get Congress to pass the Immigration Restriction Act 2 years later. And look up to who this individual is. Then you'll start to understand why they put Henry Kissinger, who should have never been nowhere near the White House or in government. He was the watchdog. Okay? And he would sit there and be the go-between as far as what was going between BlackRock and all these individuals, the Black Pope, and everything else, even the fake crowns of England. Now, this was the same law, the reader will recall, which Sanger was so vocal in citing when she opposed any increase in the number of Jews who were seeking to flee Hitler's Germany. Wellerstein goes on to inform us that because California's original law was seen as being too vague, it was repealed in 1913 and replaced with a new, stronger sterilization mandate that allowed the State Department of Mental Hygiene, whose precursors were the State Commission on Lunacy and the State Department of Institutions. There's a lot of people who died there, of our people, who were not crazy at all, but it was a way to get rid of, and the black church helped in this, okay? To sterilize a patient. Now, the first section of the 1913 statute, Wellerstein writes, specified that the patient must be afflicted with hereditary insanity. So if you're on the land and your family's dying and fighting a war and you're watching it go away, why were you to be conceptualized and perceived? Or incurable chronic mania or dementia. Dementia didn't exist until 1977. Do you see the play on words? No, I'm serious. If you study medicine, if you go and look this stuff up, you will see for yourself. What follows in section 2, Wellerstein notes, is simply an exact duplicate of the 1909 statute, which enables sterilization at the discretion of physicians, with no further specifications of the kinds of reasons that had to be given. Do you see? And they're using these same tactics right now. You see the thing they're coming out with the monkeypox and all the other stuff. I'm not here to get into all that, but this is just another formality. Okay? Now, actually, I am actually going to quit tobacco. I was doing some research and found out that they were testing our great tobacco with this mRNA in 2020. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So, you know me, I got some contact numbers, and I decided to call some of the companies to which my great relatives helped cultivate the tobacco for these fake Jews, who turned around later on and started spraying, and not known to the public, all these chemicals that our people, only our people, not you Native Americans, whatever you want to call yourselves, were producing and making. As in the past, even the tobacco that was found in the Egyptians in Egypt, Egypt, the oldest pyramids are here, okay? So the funny thing is, people aren't aware of this. You have people new to this world, and they believe in their historical lie, but then when you take things that are relevant that are based on facts to a truth, they have a hard time dealing with it, okay? Let's mark that. I didn't want to read too much of that, because it gets really, you know what I mean? It really gets, it's going to get good. Let's go ahead and break out the exposing the expositions of 1851 to 1915 by Heidi Mikowski. This is his 2021 revised edition compared to his 2019. Again, original Lone Wolf actually goes and shows you the statue, okay, in Chicago. They call Chicago, all right? Like I said, nothing's original with them. They take everything and they weaponize it. And calling this place Chicago is the weaponization to remove the indigenous or the orthogonous or the origin or people of origin of the land from what their great creation and structures that were the most sound buildings ever built. All right? So that's a sister. Looks like some Greek dude. That's a melanated sister, y'all. As I've stated over and over and over. Shalom. All right? And they didn't build it. They just whitewashed and painted it. And it had all these foreigners all dressed up. When you go somewhere new, a club, you go and dress your best. You walk into the church every Sunday, you dress your best, because it's that one day a week when you can act like you're right, and the rest of the week you can act like you're dirty in the center. So let's get into it. Last time we was looking at Baltimore 1904, looking at the destruction. What we were discussing, and I gave you all a website to go ahead and pull up the information. And if you chose not to, that's on you, okay? Depending, I guess going back to the 1600s, right? And the fact that we look at it now, and you could tell that those places didn't catch on fire. They were blown up, okay? One thing the building contractors I met has seen fire damage, okay? The building contractors I met, excuse me. The building contractors I met had seen fire damage to buildings many times. He was very clear when looking at the fire photos of Chicago and several other cities that they were not fires. In fact, he asked, just like they did now with derailing the trains, knocking down the bridges. You got to make sense of this, people. All right? Chicago and several other cities that they were not fires. In fact, he asked, who bombed these cities? Because this damage is not from a fire. Look, all these buildings were stone, not wood, and the stone is flaking off. That is serious damage. A simple fire cannot do this to stone. Take the cathedral in Paris that just burned, the Notre Dame. The ceiling burned because it was made of wood, but the stone structure of the building turned out fine. A bit of soot damage to change the color, but that's it. Now look at these photos. What has done this to the stone? This really needs to be examined further. And any of you that work like me with explosives and certain things like that, and before all the cameras and all that, we were practicing the turn the left. We were making bombs everywhere you turn, and it's easy to make them. You can make them with 2 ingredients in your kitchen. I mean, bad ones. But the thing is, you don't need ammonium nitrate. You don't need tetranitrile. You don't need all this other stuff and liquid. You don't need that liquid glycerin. You don't need that. But these things back then, because this was no knowledge, they were. Remember, we invented the aircraft, the blimp, the damn jet. The Wright brothers didn't invent the aeroplane. You know what I'm saying? It was a brother in France, a brother, and 2 brothers here. And they just had to steal that. And I read your inventions. I know it's hard for them to accept it because then it just tears away the little infrastructure of the world lies. But the reality is, just like what they did in 1985 when I was in the Navy, to the move in Philadelphia. And they got these little greases, nasty little things called white supremacists to go up in the helicopter and drop satchel charges of C4 or whatever you want to call that, and blow the buildings up with children and women because they don't care. Just like the one that murdered Macy. Now they're starting to see some of the fake tattoos that some of these white supremacists wear, alluding to the fact he's probably a racist. Well, everybody knows that half of the police force has a bunch of these goofballs on it, and some other quote figures, and they're not, and they are human, and they're like mankind. Some of these individuals in the force aren't what you think they are. But I'm not here to broaden on that. We're not discussing that. So let's get back into this. Excuse me. Go and look at more photos. They can be found all over the internet. You guys can pull up the burning of Chicago, San Francisco, everywhere. You can pull up World's Fair and after all the damage. Talking about fires. Try Portland, Maine, 1866, Boston, 1872, or Toronto, 1904. That's right, Toronto. The fires were claimed to have been so bad because of all the buildings were built of wood. But when you look at the photos carefully, all I can see is brick and stone, and pulverized brick and stone at that. Again, no char marks. No sign of fire or fire damage, just battle damage, stone buildings. You got to remember, there's trees still standing, and even those what they want to let you to believe of telephone poles that had no wires, still standing, unmarked, uncharted. They were blowing them up, just like they did the World Trade Center. You know, a week before they had the Mossad, well, 3 of them they confirmed was Mossad, but they came as paint students and they had a week to go in there and, you know, and a lot of us know about thermite paint. And then you drill some holes and put in, you know, dynamite or whatever, certain weak point structures. This is what they practice to do. Now, they have a pretty good pictures here. I'm not going to put them up in front of here because they won't. I'd be better be able to do in picture because they always, I'm going to show you something and I want you to see this. They always hide the sky. This is Photoshop by them. Back then, this is how they Photoshopped the sky because there were no clouds. There were no clouds, y'all. Now we have 2 more oddities with the presentation of the city fires. The first is that though they caused tremendous damage, very few people died, often just 1 or 2. Would not many more be swept by it at night, caught in the upper floors of buildings? Maybe the few death results are a message. We also have the odd photos of people posing for selfies with the destruction in the background, such as in San Francisco, or with military troops standing in front of the fire damage, almost as if they are showing off a trophy. Another is all the Civil War photographs of cities destroyed in the southern United States, which is, we know this is not the United States, all right? Look carefully at Richmond, Virginia, or other cities. First, what you see are remnants of spectacular Roman and Greek style buildings. Then what you see from destruction is not really what would be capable of cannon attacks of that time. Unless you took 50 cannons, stood them outside of buildings, and fired over and over again for hours, it is more like controlled dynamite or demolition to the buildings, or some other form of high-powered attack. That possibly means the Civil War could be nothing like we have been told. I've been telling y'all that. I knew my great-great-uncles that fought in it. It was not no Hollywood Civil War. I keep telling people to go to certain places. They'll see big limestones and concrete and marble, and where dams, where the bridges still are, and over there where a grand castle that could house probably about 30 families you never even know about by a mound, because you know why? Let me finish this part right here. That is how unsure we are about history when we really look at it with a critical mind. It forces every part of it to be brought up again for new examination. Because, Pelskis, you didn't build nothing. Why would you want to come build a great city and destroy it? No, you did this the world over. They brought these individuals who will play a part, masquerading, changing the narrative, writing books, rewriting history, painting pictures, painting over like Notre Dame. They said that they were attempting to go up there and find out what was really under that painting. And all of a sudden a fire happens. I told you about Quasimodo, who he was martyred at out of Central America, supposedly Central or somewhere around Texas or Mexico. This figure, might be a slower, who was about 4'5", 5'4", had a hump in his back, walked with a cane, had hair looking like, well, like you know, big croppy white afro, but bad with locks, carrying a bag they called a medicine bag, who was doing miraculous things, still able to do a lot of things, and so the fake Jews murdered him. And then in France, because you had the French here and all that, all of them were working together, they created this martyr called Quasimodo. And yet when you watch Arnold Schwarzenegger and Recall, who was the bear giver of good intentions and thoughts? Quasimodo in somebody's stomach, some little twisted, mangled thing. But you don't know this stuff because they're teaching you lies. I'm going to end it right there. And he wasn't in France. He'd been all over the world. They considered him an oddity and had the face only a mother could love. And when his time was up, he knew it. And he allowed them to kill him. He didn't die because they murdered him. Because he knew of other things. And then around 1940s, a man named Simi Motoko and 2 other individuals were born. And somewhere in the 60s, the goddamn Mossad, excuse my language, the Mossad or the fake Jews wanted to welcome and greet him because of all the marvelous things he was doing. Bill of Pale Horse by Mr. William Cooper. All right. So they're showing you all that now because as far as they're concerned, their plans are locked in. Their savior is here. Excuse me. Let's pick it up. Wow. Okay, so we're just gonna take it right from there. All right, so excuse me. On June 19th, 1986, I was a good 2-3 years in the Navy by then, having so purchased the Lac Qui Pearl Bank Corporation out of the future control of the Federal Reserve System. Listen again. On June 19th, 1986, having so purchased the Lac Qui Pearl Bank Corporation out of the future control of the Federal Reserve System in order to shore up its status as an authorized United States bank holding company, another banking entity owned by the International Equity Trust, the IET, y'all need to look into this stuff, was assigned under the Lac Qui Pearl Bank Corporation, Incorporated, right? Foreign, where the gold and stuff for y'all Federal Reserve and everything would be stolen away. Okay, after they murdered and robbed and took it all. Inc. ownership. Now, a certain amount of cash had been set aside to cover the float. Now, you got to remember, there was still some silver bullion or notes still flying around. I still had some of those, worth its weight in silver. The assets had been duly assigned. The law was clear that we were authorized. Paul Volcker, look him up, had not come back to us within the 10 days under the law of laches, which I had invoked in my letter. Unconventional or not, we were in business. Certain of our customers were approved for immediate credit lines. You should know who they are. Look it up. Certain of our operatives were appointed as regional directors over a 5-state area, each endowed with the responsibility to open 10 offices per state. You want to know how the country got in debt? You want to know about the Bolshevik Revolution, why Hitler was doing what he was against his own brethren who called themselves Zionists? Excuse me. You want to know why countries are falling and who they use? Those who don't know no truth and have no truth. Anyway, with the responsibility to open 10 offices per state, each was provided with an interest prepaid credit line of $50 million. Acting service agent, first tier retailer for the Lac Qui Pearl Bank Corporations, credit extending enterprise, the subsidiary, the State Bank of Boyd. In its own right, Boyd, one of the families, also enjoyed a new credit line of $1.2 million, but was obligated not to extend more than times 7/8 of the 50,000, excuse me, to insulate itself from insolvency. Oh, that's just pretty crazy. Now, with the knowledge that checks are not securities, y'all, as to decree in the Securities and Exchange Act, an act made in pursuance to the Constitution, and hence under Article 6 supreme in its force and effect. Attorney Nora ordered cashiers, checks, and personalized checks from the appropriate printers for the State Bank of Boyd. She and I both knew and later reconfirmed at my trial that there exists no legislation which prohibits anyone or any corporation from issuing its own cashier's checks. Per se. Unconventional without a doubt, but unlawful. No. We both also know that the only restrictions in terms of the State Bank of Boyd's activities as a non-bank was that it was physically without its banking charter. But, as reconfirmed as trial, the only additional ability such a charter grants its corporate owner is the authority to take deposits. Neither the reconnery system nor any of its 170 program, I can't even hardly read this, engages any of its various types. This is really from his letters. Variously tiered instrumentalities in any deposit-taking activity. Reconnery is an entirely restructured socio-economic equation. Now, if y'all can read this, go ahead. Boy, that's a beautiful thing when you study languages all day. This is like the last 2 pages. And I'm not going to read them all. I'm going to read the rest of this on July 3rd. We get into another part of the story of in 1986. And we'll pick that up tomorrow, okay? So, and this is where it gets real. I should have been actually taking I got little things like typewriter, little squares. I can actually lightly dab some ink, wipe it on something, and fill those in to make them stand out more. But I don't want to actually, I'll leave the book as it is. So this is really from his letters, his typing that he put together. So we'll pick that last part up. Like I said, we got 2 more pages. Okay, and after the 2 pages, we'll be into the documentation, U.S. Army Intelligence Connection with Satanic Church. Okay? Pretty informative. Heaven Bearers. Here we go. The New Age of Deception by Janine Helen. In the other book, they have a picture. She's a sweet-looking young lady in South Africa. I don't know if that was she was there visiting. I think she actually lives there. But there it is. Okay. Let's go ahead and pick this up and get into it. Get right into it. This is one of my scopes. I was looking for this one. I got black, yellow, red, pink. I was like, I keep forgetting I put it in the dang book. I gotta change you out, buddy, with a real bookmark. Anyway, because I was cleaning up one of my old long-range scopes. You know what I mean? Anyway, remember we ended off with bang! And I know some of y'all were like, this mother. Thanks, T. Hines. Opinions on Macleod TV. What's going on, beloved? What's happening? What's cracking? T. Hines, what's going on? Just want to shout y'all out. Millennial, what's going on, hon? New York Minute, what's cracking? Okay. Hayashi Michaelis. Okay. All right, what's going on, beloved? What's happening? Yeah, I don't mind, man. Whatever you believe is powerful. You dig what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and get this in, and we're going to shut it down because I want to watch this. It's not a movie. It's a documentary. I might share a little bit about it. So it's fairly old. It took me a while to find it. I had to use the internet. I'll be glad when I saw this TV. I'm so tired of TVs. I really am. But it's good for these things. So I'll let y'all know about it. And I'm not going to share it right now, all right? So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, let me get into character. Well, I need some chlorophyll. Startled from the bang, Dr. Woot. And it's not the same as my family, you know, Mark. Lily Hooten is W-O-O-T-E-N, and James Henry Hooten, and they're both of the Choctaw or Chickasaw. All right, and those are my great grandparents. Full-blooded. Even though we had some, they weren't called Chinese at the time. China didn't exist. But the land of the people of Shia, whatever you want to call it, they married into our family, and they look like us. Startled, Dr. Woot drops the picture and gets up from his chair to look at the window behind him. It isn't broken, but something definitely knocked into it. Perhaps a bird flew into it. He grabs hold of the latch and pushes it open. just wide enough so that he can peek out and see the floor, wondering if there's anything there. Sounds like them old women when we was hard-headed. Boy, they used to hit them windows, old 400, 500-year-old homes, and women looking out there with them big old, you know, them earthy kit glasses, watching us out there making a whole lot of mess. That's the exact same thing. Anyway, to his surprise, there was a bird. It was lightly dazed and needed to orientate itself. He closes the window and hurries outside, wanting to help it. But when he gets there, he realizes the bird had already flown off. There were a few feathers lying on the floor, which he picks up and puts in his trouser pocket. The day is strange. From the moment he woke up, he thought the day was off. A lot of y'all feel like that right now, don't you? Things are moving really fast, days are shorter, nights are quicker. Some of you even sleeping heavier, aren't you? Even the sun was dimmer than normal. Nevertheless, he had another patient he needed to attend to and calmly walks back inside to go over the notes or the last session and forgets all about what just happened. And Dr. Woot, Elsa stops him and hands him a piece of paper, as she calls him. Cole left you this the other day, but you rushed out to be on time for your boys' play, remember? Ah, yes. What does it say? He asked, knowing full well she took a peek at it. Elsa was a lovely middle-aged woman, but she was nosy, more so since her husband died 2 years ago. She shrugs her shoulders, indicating she has no idea. It says indication, but it means indicating. She has no idea, exactly as he expected her to do. He gives her a stern look, teasing her with his playful reprimand, and walks towards his office. He knows the message isn't important. Otherwise, she would have handed it to him first thing in the morning. Now, the fact that she even forgot about it indicated that it could wait. Instead, he grabs the next patient file from the shelf and goes over the notes for Tom, a 44-year-old man who has multiple personality disorders and nearly killed his second wife because he believed it would cure him. Tom is criminally insane. As a result, can never lead a normal life, but Dr. Wu still wants to help him. The session starts off normally. Tom pretends he doesn't know why he is here, starts to cry until his alter ego awakens and controls the situation. Alter ego, remember I told you egos are jinn, zene, jana. This personality protects him and doesn't let him get bullied, although there is no danger here. How are you doing, Raymond? Dr. Woot asked casually, not at all surprised by his sudden appearance. You know the usual. Now, have you spoken much to Tom lately? He has been upset. Says he knows something about the end of the world and all that. He scoffs, excuse me, it's supposed to be, I'm telling you, if y'all read these books, it's supposed to say irrational, but we'll say irritated, because it's spelled wrong, that he has to be in this room again. Oh no, Tom didn't mention any of that. Perhaps he was afraid and wanted you to be the one to tell me, he replies, knowing Raymond likes to play games and uses Tom as justification to play them. He has all sorts of wild ideas, but unlike Cole's, they don't make sense and he forgets, loses track of them quickly, and classic marker of a lie and a liar. Truth doesn't need to be remembered, lies do. Have you read it yet, Dr. Woot? He asked, seated, comfortably on the couch, his legs spread wide apart, and he tapped. Love and marriage. It makes me think of that damn TV show. Anyway, he taps the tops of his thighs like a drum set. Come on, man. I want to know what it says. I want to know when the sky falls, he jokes mockingly. Dr. Wu is confused by his question, and before he asks him to clarify which letter he is referring to, Raymond gets up and walks straight to his desk. His eyes scan around the table and stop suddenly. He picks up the picture frame of Alice and takes out the folded piece of paper from underneath it. He doesn't open it and gives it to Dr. Wu, then takes a seat, and this time his posture is more dignified. Dr. Wu unfolds the piece of paper and looks at what is written on it. He says nothing and shows it to Raymond. Do you know what is written here? He asks and expects him to take the piece of paper from his hand. Nope. The letter P is clearly accentuated in his answer. And nope. All right? And doesn't take the bait. He is playing one of his games. It's a date and time. He responds and says nothing else. Raymond finally leans forward, interested. What date? You really don't know? He shakes his head, indicating he does not. It says 14 December 2020, 06:45 a.m. The day the world ends? Raymond mutters under his breath, realizing the date is in 4 years' time, and he no longer wants to play any game. He is suddenly serious, as if this is truly the day the world ends. And for the first time, he answers every question posed without a fuss. Now, I know what y'all are thinking. You're thinking 2019, but yet how many months right before 2020, and at 6:45 a.m., what happened? If you look at 14 December, do the research. Okay? He is suddenly serious, as if this is truly the day the world ends, and for the first time, he answers every question posed without a fuss. After the session, Dr. Wood approaches Elsa. Don't bother denying it. I know you looked at the note. I just want to know what it said, he demands, his voice carrying a trace of worry and uncertainty. Reluctant at first, she eventually responds with the truth. There was a date and a time on it. The time was 06:45 a.m. and the date was 14 December 2020. She feels awkward and ashamed. Sorry, she crinkles her nose and pretends to be very busy on the computer. This particular date and time means nothing to him. He wonders if it means something to Cole. He needs to ask Cole about it immediately. He glances at his watch. It is 12 p.m. and he decides to visit Cole on his lunch break, hoping he is home and he can get some answers. Knock, knock, knock. All I could do was just wait. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there, right? There is no immediate answer. He knocks again. The door opens, and to his surprise, it isn't Cole who opens it. A small, petite young woman with short blonde hair is standing on the opposite end of it. She is wearing a light green summer dress, it matching well with her soft pink lips, and Dr. Wood immediately recognizes her without actually knowing who she is. Did Cole manage to produce into reality a figment of his imagination? How was this possible? The young woman smiles as she gestures him inside, not even wondering who he is. It must be because she already knows. His heart is thumping hard and fast, and he is very self-conscious about it, worried that she could hear it. Hi, my name is Ebony. She holds out her hand. Doc goes, Ebony. And we're going to stop right there. Now that y'all like, what, huh? On TikTok, I'll be reading The Man Who Crossed the Ice Walls, all 5 of those books, and right after that, I'm going to read, but first I'm going to read Iron Witch Called. I'm going to read that one first. And then after that, after we get done with that, then we're going to get into the next sets of what I've done over here. So I'm just going to be reading over there and uploading vids too. So appreciate y'all taking the time. The system will change, but certain places will be like Lake of Fire. You're already in the Lake of Fire, beloved. What's your TikTok? Oh, it's the same thing. Jim Lucifer Wooten Branch. Same thing. I'll actually take a screenshot and I'll make a post and show it over here, okay? So that way you guys will know. I was thinking about reading on all the platforms, just reading, because I really don't have nothing for people. Benji, what's going on? Whatever, Neshi, what's going on? Agidohi. Solutions, I got you, beloved. Yes, sir. If they don't, beloved, just get rid of them. Y'all be set up. Oh yeah, I'm always in good spirits. It just doesn't seem like it because I like to. Well, you know, when you bring people over and certain people come and see the machine. I keep telling y'all, the machine is not smart. It's not intelligent. You're giving energy to facilitate it becoming that. And I keep expressing to y'all it is not. And I know it's hard to accept somebody else's other narrative of what may be, but listen to me. Somebody who's invented a lot of things and built a lot of things and works on a lot of things and who's a little different. All you can do is just take and do the research, and you'll be surprised at what you come across. That's why I don't mind trolls and all these other things. If they actually knew what the terms they were utilizing, that they've cast a spell on themselves, even the machine, it would stop. But I don't want it to stop. And see, that's, you know what I'm saying? What was that? It's good to see you too, beloved. Already, y'all the warriors, man. I'm just the messenger. That's all. Like I said, I know how it ends. And that will never change. Never. And I know some like, wait. No, that's not how it works. It's just not how it works. It's just not how it works. I have a story to tell. I'm going to tell that story. They want to keep playing the games as if they're secure. They're not. They need to hear the story. Trust me. And a lot of other things. I don't have no safety factors. Don't require, don't have no need of them. You know what I mean? But yeah. The system would, yeah. Anyway, I appreciate y'all coming over. And I knew that also, this is something else. If I started using a certain language that people believe in, like swearing, cursing, which swearing is not. Swearing is what I do when I'm employing, I guess y'all call it magic. Cursing is the same thing. They have taken it and they facilitated it to mean something else that has no meaning at all. They've taken something from nothing and created something else. And that's why I say it's very important to pay attention to the dynamics and the dialects, because nobody really knows this, and people will utilize it and they don't really know that they're feeding me energy. I can't explain everything. If you were here, you were grounding and you were doing things with me, and we could sit down with no TVs, no radios, no telephones around, and be somewhere off where a bunch of people could just listen, then you would have a little more insight, and then it would make more sense. But I'm not here, you know, like I said, I'm enjoying it all. I'm not here to stop nothing. It's not who I am. I'm not built for that. All right? Oh, I could stop something. Believe that. But I'm not here for that. All right? So I've been afforded to be around, go around, travel around, know my family's history better than most people on this land. I would say I know my family's history better than 98% of the people in so-called Central, South, North, Canada, America, Africa, whatever you want to call it. 98% more, better. And I'm telling about going way back. Even my family sits there sometimes, wait, why do you know that? Wait, my uncle, Detroit. And some of the guys, Ganja, please share with them. He's like in his 80s in Detroit. And I'm not making nothing up. You see what I'm saying? Buried my grandmother and great-grandmother and my great-greats. There's a lot of them. Okay? So I just hope that y'all take the advice and you move with it. It's not about dismantling what they did. They're dismantling it themselves because they know, listen to me, they want to destroy everything. But they got to make sure that they're locked and sealed away. The problem is, this time it's not going to be the same. There are things, look, man, they believe in their own lies. Okay? And you would too if you were able and capable and had lived a life that you would think was humble but is not humble. That's all I can say to that. I can't say nothing else because there's so much to it. And yet it's so insignificant. Why would people think it's insignificant? Because you're only going to think about terror, chaos, death, mayhem. You're not going to look at the bigger picture, and it's hard to see it when you have all these things around you. It's like the biggest bell. And when they say, and Haosha, you need to change that name because that's a bad jinn. That's why I was surprised that you even had that name on there. You will see these things and it'll be more relevant because it's already there in front of you. It's just that you can't see it. How many times you walk down 40 Doo-Wop, right? Or you walk off the side streets, you're walking down, you're going to one of the restaurants. The movie theater is where I used to spend all day because I could be in the movie theater all day and then I would go over there and have some Mexican food over, you know what I'm saying? restaurant and all that. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Big Cheeks himself restaurant. But I would go over there and spend my whole day, or I'd be over there checking out the models on the side street. You know what I'm saying? Model cars and model trains, the big HO scale ones. Those are the ones I like to build. The big ones, you know? And I build the little ones too. And they had some of the best models from the old Italian guys and the Jewish guys, you know, over there in Manhattan. Down on the little stoops, you go down, and it's a little store. Those are the best ones in art stores and bookstores. Some of the oldest, and most people don't even know about these bookstores, and many of those people have passed away. And those books, I guarantee you, the government had state has come in and taken those books and got rid of them. That's why people should be like, yo, where's going to one of them bookstores and get one of them old ancient books? And people didn't even know they existed. To tell the truth of New York, the Indians there is always melanated black folks, but people have a hard time, and some Moors were here with us. And people have a hard time dealing with the reality of this. But you can't profess and claim something based on a religious statute when Christianity and Islam is not of this land. But the first Bible was written in Algonquin, Muskogee speaking, or whatever people want to say. My great-grandmother had one. I was attempting to keep it, but when I went into the military, my great-grandmother gave it to one of our other relatives. I think went back down south. So I did my best to find it, to take it, with our family tree bigger than a friggin' can't find it. I always read it, the family names, all the names I saw, me and mine and my brothers and sisters and everybody. I saw, oh man, it was just thousands of names and these big trees in the back, this big white, I don't even know what it was made out of, bison skin or something. And it was the whole thing before the apocrypha, you want to call it that or whatever. It was, and I mean, I used to be in that thing, and mama, and it was Algonquin, or it was a Musqueam, you know, it was the language. And I used to be Algonquin. I was like, and that was the first language the Bible was in. Then it became this English, and that's the truth. So I was afforded that. You know what I mean? Okay, well, he's gone. So anybody else, anybody got a question or anything? Because I'm about to get off here and watch this. It's like, okay. Yeah, I like the rifle too, brother. We ain't having that here, okay? We're not having that. Now, I'm gonna hide you. But the rifle don't mean nothing. It's nothing but like a screwdriver and a hammer. What you need to be looking at and paying attention is to the nail driver and the screw turner. I'm gonna hook that up. Let me see if it's on here too. I'm gonna show it in here. That way you can see it. I can pull it up real quick, and you can probably take a screenshot of it. Make sure the volume's down. Yeah, it's still on over there. I'm about to play 178.
What's up, guys?
Okay, some people are just goofy. Okay. You can get away with that on TikTok, you know what I mean? Is that my nephew G.I. Flow following me? All right, here's the account right here. Jim Lucifer. Let me pull it all the way down. Let me pull it all the way out. Okay. So I don't think y'all can screenshot that. That looks kind of dumb, right? I can actually put it on there, and y'all can. I don't think it'll work on there, so I'll put it on there, okay? But let me show you the account. All right. Why is it doing this stuff, man? My apologies. No, they be bugging, man. They be bugging, bro. Okay, so I'm just gonna show what it is, the picture, and it's Jim Lucifer. Okay, first I'm gonna show you that. It's always gonna be my same name. All right. I want to make sure it's, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. So it's gonna be in the corner there. That's get that right there. It's Jim Lucifer Wooten branch. It's not. Heck, nugget. Can you see it? It's my tablet. Jim Lucifer Wooten Brown. Let me just pull back. Maybe this will focus better. And that's me. Oh man. Damn. The light from the bottom from the lamp. Oh man, that's. I'll just make a. You know what? I'll make a post and I'll put it all up there so that way you guys can follow if you want to come over there. Like I said, I have some things I talked about. What I'm going to be doing is just reading over there. Okay, and that way you guys can follow me over there. Yo, Sean James, Jersey, what's up? Jersey in the house, New York. Yo, one and the same. If you only knew that those were tribal members of the same faction, don't listen to those individuals talking about, oh, we've been YouTubing and this is our family, the Red Road. Man, listen to me. Jersey and New York, there was a grand fight. You gotta look at this. When people want to talk about the Mi'kmaq and the Pequot, they don't know nothing about all the people who work together. It was nobody running around with deer skins and all that. That's ceremonial. People wore clothes. Brothers and sisters wore clothes. All right. So anybody come talking about we wore feathers and we was running around and we had the fringes and stop. Our people were sharp 24/7 for thousands of years. Sharp. All right. So you know what I'm talking about. And that's me throwing a punch. And I wish they would challenge me with their nonsense. They should know better. You know what I'm saying? What tribe? It's the tribe of Earth. What are you talking about? Where you from? You an iguana? You're a scorpion, beloved? Huh? Huh? Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and start watching this documentary. It's like a movie, but it's a documentary. Appreciate y'all. It's always gonna be the same. Ladies and the brothers, we protect the sisters, and the sisters feed us all the energy we need. All right? And it's different. It has nothing to do with sex or anything. It's different. When the sisters come into their calling, and the brothers walk in their calling, boy, if y'all only knew. If you only knew. It's going to be some work after you have these little workless individuals pushing all this goofy sexualized music, because you know who's behind it. Especially if you're in New York like me, and you went to the studios and you see these idiots pop their heads in, like Vlad and all these other monkeys, Adam 22s, and they're everywhere. And nobody wants to accept the role because you still have these individuals who like getting, you know what I'm saying? And it's a bad thing, man. All right? Appreciate you guys. Appreciate that, Sean. I have a Cashapp too. Let me tell you what happens. Whenever people donate 50 cent, 90 cent, dollar, whatever, I take it, I match it, and that's how I buy all these books. There's plenty upstairs in the shed, and I buy them. And then if I get rid of all my clothes, I will always have all the books. You know what I'm saying? Always. All right, charge. Let me go ahead and plug this in because the charge is going down. It's a new phone, but it's one piece of crap. It's a weapon. All right? There we go. So anyway, I'm going to see you guys later. I'll let you know if it's worthwhile to discuss the movie documentary that I'm about to watch. I'll let you guys know, all right? But first, I'll go ahead and post that so that way you guys will know, all right? So again, I'll see y'all tomorrow.